Good evening and welcome to ELOSOFUMARTAKES. This is our 76th take live from the Caldwell Cigar Studios of Euless, Texas. I'm your host as always, Barry Duplessis, and I'm so excited that we're kicking off tonight. Apologize for the little bit of a delay. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we always persevere, and we will always persevere, especially when we have tremendous guests like we have on tonight. But before I get to him, we do have to thank everyone that makes our show possible, and of course, that is our sponsors. And our sponsors for this show, of course, is one of our sponsors for this show, of course, is Drew Estate. Drew Estate recently announced that they were shipping the Acid Plus and Acid Croqueta to retailers nationwide. These two purple powerhouses in the Acid lineup were showcased at the 2019 TAA conference held in the Dominican Republic and are already in high demand. Continuing the celebration of the 20th anniversary of Acid, these two purple acids reach new heights of aroma and taste. Jonathan Drew, president and founder, notes that the celebration of 20 years of Acid is truly significant for the modern cigar culture. Acid's impact is unquestionable and will live on forever. Today, we celebrate in deep, powerful purple with the national release of Plush and Croqueta. Long live Acid. And if you guys are watching us on YouTube, we really appreciate all of you guys tuning in live and catching us on replays on the video. But if you guys are downloading the podcast anywhere, because you can listen to this podcast wherever podcasts are played, that includes Apple Podcasts, Google Play, TuneIn, Spotify, Podbean, you name it, we're on it. ELOSOFUMARTAKES, and you are listening to us exclusively because of Cornelius and Anthony Premium Cigars. Cornelius and Anthony Premium Cigars is steeped in tobacco tradition. For over 150 years, the Bailey family has been a part of America's tobacco heritage, passionately caring for the land they cultivate in Keysville, Virginia. Cornelius and Anthony's devotion to the finest grown tobacco and foremost aspects of craftsmanship allows them to introduce the most exquisite cigars to the market. They invite you to enjoy their portfolio of premium hand-rolled cigars and experience their dedication to producing exceptional products. So we really appreciate our sponsors. And without further ado, we would like to welcome the man of the hour. Happy Cinco de Mayo to everyone out there, which actually is not a holiday for, well, it's not Mexico's equivalent to Independence Day, much like we would like to think it is. I think we celebrate it more here in this country than anything else. But raise a glass anyway to our guest of honor this evening, Mr. Bill Ives.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you for having me on.
Bill Ives, Curbariqueño Cigar Company. Bill,
let me ask you a question. Do you find that Cinco de Mayo is like crazy down there in Texas? Because tonight I'm in Florida, and right on the strip here on the Gulf, and wasn't anything crazy, for today. Do people really go out and do that?
Oh, it's huge. Anymore? Yeah. Oh, it's huge down here in Texas. Yeah, Texas. It's unbelievable. It's almost a little bit laughable just how how much Americans get into this holiday that is for another country. It's really unbelievable. And it's all over, like everywhere, like probably like in other parts of the country where it's not as not as big. I guarantee if you go to any like chain restaurant, like a Chili's or an Applebee's or something, it's like Cinco de Mayo, and they've got some celebration of some kind and stuff. And it's one of those like really obnoxious things. Like I grew up in El Paso, Texas, like it's right on the border. And Cinco de Mayo didn't even really become a thing until like later in my life. Like it just was one of those things that like pop culture grabbed a hold of it and just said, yeah, we're going to own this.
I mean, it was good for a while. I just don't see, in New Jersey, you get it like at the Chi-Chi's or, like one of these couple of Mexican restaurants, but nothing really crazy. And down here, I figured, there was a lot more Kentucky Derby parties. And I was surprised it was laughable because I saw a lot of parties today. Like people were still dressing up. I'm going to a Kentucky Derby party. I'm like, well, that was yesterday.
Yeah. Did you get the memo?
Yeah, it was a little crazy. And I'm like, I'll tell you who won.
And it wasn't actually the horse that crossed the finish line first.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing.
We were at the dinner and I missed it. and I thought that the horse lost like in a photo finish. I didn't know there was like all this controversy. You know what happened with the horse.
I mean, 100 first time in 145 years that the winner was DQ'd.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's one of those things. It's one of the longest standing races ever. So you have to assume that something flukish like that will eventually happen at some point.
Is it because he touched another horse? Is that what
Yeah.
happened?
So when the mount touches another one, and kind of when you get to a certain point in the race, like you essentially have lanes without having lanes, and there's certain rules to adhere by.
Right.
And it truly is a technicality. Like they didn't necessarily have to review it. It is a judgment call.
Right.
But I mean, it is a rule. And so by touching him in the way that he did, automatically set him up for disqualification. I mean, the rules in horse racing are very, I mean, they're very extreme. The punishment is very extreme because they wanted to dissuade people from obviously doing it. And
yeah, but you know what? It's kind of like the Super Bowl. Last play of the game. I mean, are you really going to call a little touch of passing interference that's something that's going to change history?
Right, exactly.
You know? So that's crazy. A lot of money changed hands quick yesterday, that's for sure.
You know, the one desperate schmuck that bet on Country House to win at 65 to 1 is just loving his life this morning. He's like,
I wish I knew about it. You know, I couldn't. You know, we have an app in New Jersey where you can bet everything. So in Florida, it sees your GPS, so you can't bet anything.
Oh, that's terrible. It's like the OTB app or something.
Yeah, it's great.
Awesome. Well, Bill, again, just it's dynamite to have you back. For those who don't know, it's been 66 takes. It's been 66 takes.
You've blown up since I was here last. And I'll tell you what, I think that the studio's Caldwell Studios now. I don't think that existed when I was on the last time, right?
No, actually, I was in my garage. Which I still am.
Is he going to send you a fancy banner?
Yes. We just announced a couple weeks ago, and so that is being procured as we speak, and we will have that. But it'll be really exciting. Yeah, we've had 66 takes since the last time you were on. Have had some amazing guests, including your partner, Juan, that made it on, and I'm making waves in the industry, man, because you guys make dual appearances everywhere you go, except for on ELOSOFUMARTAKES. I bring you on one at a time because I want something. Cool. I want something different. Cool. So, what are you smoking tonight?
Right now, I'm smoking the Themis Corona Gorda, and we came out with this last May, and was an exclusive for Famous Smoke Shop. And we're going to release it nationally at the show this year in Las Vegas.
Terrific.
But, I mean, the cigar is terrific. The size has always been a size that I've loved. You know, when we came out with Protocol, we originally came out with two sizes. It was a Toro and a Corona Gorda. And the way we did that was what we wanted to smoke. So I always wanted to smoke a Corona Gorda size, so I did that size. Juan always liked the bigger ring gauges, so he went with the Toro. And we kind of always stuck to that. But this cigar in this size is phenomenal. I mean, I'm smoking it all the time. It doesn't matter if it's morning, noon, or night. So it's doing well for us.
Well, before I go into IPCPR, that brings about a really interesting question. So you and I have talked about this. We like sometimes a little bit smaller of a gauge. The Corona Gorda is kind of our wheelhouse. So how did the Lancero craze crop up within Cubariqueño, and then now it's become almost it's become a staple for you guys, and done really well for you guys.
Yeah, we've always liked the smaller ring gauges. Juan, when he started smoking cigars, he was into the bigger ring gauges, but then he gravitated down and was a big Lancero guy. And just if you know about tobacco, we try to preface that, we're no experts at any of these things. We're brand owners, but you're smoking the cigar with less filler in it, and you're just getting more of the flavor with the wrapper. So we've always loved the Lancero. So the Lancero's been a staple. Now, um, you know, we've got a lot of advice where people said, hey, don't make a Lancero because it's not going to sell. Now we don't produce a crazy amount, but we've taken it as one of our childs with all of our blends, and it's done very well for us. I mean, week after week when I'm in the office doing orders, I mean, there's always a Lancero of one or another that's getting included in the order. So they're doing well. We never have an overstock of Lancero where we sell out of everything else and it's just Lancero. They sell just equally, just as good as everything else that we sell. Now,
So
go ahead.
no, go ahead, please.
I think we would do better if we had some bigger sizes. Like in our market, the New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania market, these guys like to smoke big ring gauges, 60 ring gauge cigars, especially New York City. If you don't have a 60 ring gauge, it's almost like you're out of the market over there. But, the Toro, thank God we have the Toros there, and that satisfies that market. But, we just don't, for some of the blends, we just don't think that that ring gauge just fits well with the profile for some of those cigars. So if it doesn't fit well, we won't do it.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. Is if it's something that you guys have tried out and it just hasn't,
Right.
Hector's
Yeah.
gone into the lab and you guys haven't figured it out.
I'll give you like a little, insight. So I smoked all of us in the company, we smoked the official misconduct in a Lancero, and it's okay. But when we smoke something, and we've always taken the impression that if we're going to do something, that we're always going to have thousands of cigars to smoke for ourselves because nobody's going to buy them, and we're at the end of the day when we're left with them, we have them for ourselves. I didn't think that it was a knockout home run and like the other Lanceros. So we decided that we'll probably pass. This is the first year, because the blue we came out with the Lancero, the probable cause, the red came out with the Lancero is very good. But the Themis we came out with the Lancero, which is phenomenal. And this
Yes,
one,
it is.
it just didn't bring home. So it's almost like a little testament to our little cult following that we've built, that we're not going to just put a cigar out there just to repeat something or do something else. That we're actually, we want these cigars to smoke good, and if it's not suitable for us, that we're not going to come out with them.
So I'll tell you my story about the Themis Lancero. This is how good that cigar is. And a credit to you and of course Hector and all the great folks at La Zona. So Kevin Keaton hands me my first my Themis Lancero at the last year's IPCPR, and we're chatting up. See you guys, see Juan. I meet Juan for the first time in person. I of course have had him on the show, and
right.
We're checking up. We're taking off, and Kevin kind of gives me a the half man hug kind of thing. Brings me in real close. Says, "Hey, thanks for everything, man." I was like, "Yeah, it's really nice to meet you." And we go in for a hug, man, and I never had the heart to tell him that when we did that, it bent the Lancero in my pocket
really?
that I had. Yeah. And I still smoked that thing, and that construction held up.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was, I mean, Bill, it was like a broken leg. Like
yeah.
it was Garrison Hurst, the San Francisco 49ers on that run. Yeah, like I'm like, oh, this is not gonna hold. And it sure as heck did, and it was absolutely phenomenal. And that was the blend that we talked a lot about last time you were with us, Bill.
Okay.
Was the Themis, and since then, of course, was last year's IPCPR trade show, and then now we're coming up on this year's. You just mentioned that you're not going to be doing a Lancero in the official misconduct, which is what I'm smoking tonight. And this is the latest core line that has been added to you guys. Now, so a question that I wanted to ask, because a common euphemism that you guys are known by are the protocol guys. You guys are known as Protocol. The brand is known as Protocol. But yet, as I introduced you, the company's name is Cubariqueño.
Right.
So has there ever been any confusion on, or has there been any discussion between you and Juan and Bill, that, or Kevin and all you guys? You guys have a great
Right.
community there to, you know, to mark, you know, mark clear identifying marks, maybe come out with something under the Cubariqueño line. What,
Yeah.
how do you guys feel about that?
So, when we were starting up the company, obviously we had to come up with a company name. It was a difficult decision. And Juan and I came up with Cubariqueño. And, but knowing that we had that protocol name, and it was kind of like, it really stuck to a lot of things that we were doing. I kind of wanted to take, like, after, I knew we had the Curbariqueño name, but we weren't going to do any cigars under that name. And we had the protocol, which the branding, everything stuck. So I kind of told Juan and Bill and Kevin that, we should kind of use like the model as Pete Johnson uses. That company, I believe, is known as Havana Cellars, when you purchase anything through them. But everything that you smoke is Tatawahe.
Tatawahe, yeah.
I would love to do something Cuba Riqueño, but, it's almost to the fact we're still so young. We could, you could pronounce it. You've had 4 years to learn, now. But, in the beginning, nobody knew what the hell that was. And, it pays homage to my background and Juan's background, and I love the name. It's very unique, and uh, it's an interesting thing. But I think one day maybe we'll do something under that name. But we pretty much try to market everything under the protocol brand. Um,
I mean, it's something that works for you guys. You guys really depend and delve and work with your community in a very unique fashion. There are very few examples of the way that you guys partner with your community the way that you guys specifically do. There are very few examples in the industry of people that are as involved with their fan group as you are. And I mean, and the protocol name plays right into that. The power of the P,
right.
and all the directions that you guys particularly take it. Now, speaking of community, now, I kind of, when I was kind of setting up this show and I was kind of promoting it a little bit, Bill, I talked about how community is such a huge part of your life.
Mhm.
As a law enforcement officer, you have dedicated your life's work
Right.
to serving the community in which you work,
Right.
and now you have a cigar company that serves a community in a different way, and you guys have gotten some incredible following and some just unbelievable support from your folks, because you guys have done, we talked about the core lines a little bit
Right.
tonight, but you guys have also done a number of limited edition one kind of one shot, some shop exclusives.
Right.
Most recently, your second partnership with Cigar Dojo, the
Right.
Nightstick, and before that, the John Doe Project.
Right.
Were projects like these in the initial mindset of when you guys started Cubariqueño, or was it something that just kind of fell into your lap and has worked for you?
Yeah, it's something that we never planned for that. It's something that fell into our lap that we've taken advantage of, obviously. Partner, we never thought that, growing up, I was and Juan was one of the original members of the Cigar Dojo. So we helped them out in the beginning, with our relationships, trying to secure some partnerships for them. And, but it was, they built that company. That's an amazing company that Eric has built. But, watching the collaborations that they've done with other people, and then when the opportunity presented itself that we could possibly do a collaboration with them, it was just mind blowing and amazing, So the first one was the K9, and we did 310 count bundles through Famous Smoke Shop, which is a great partner of ours. I mean, they're they're local to our area where we live, and just great partners. And I never thought in my wildest dreams, I'm always the pessimist in the company, where I think things are going to take weeks and weeks to sell. And that day, it was just a mind-blowing experience that 300 bundles sold. And then we had the opportunity to revisit, and we did the nightstick with them. And I initially wanted to do 300 bundles, and Juan convinced me into doing 500. Which, listen, I bust that guy's chops enough, but he is the heart and soul of the company. I mean, he does have his pulse on what's going on. And
can we be honest here, Bill? He wanted 1,000. You got him down to 500, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even Eric from Dojo was a little nervous about 500, but we did 500, and I'll tell you what, it's just amazing. I mean, I get truly humbled by the fact that that many people, go out and purchase the cigars. And I do understand that it's, mostly through the Dojo community there, but a lot of our fans, bought a lot of cigars. We witnessed it. We showed up at Famous Smoke Shop, and there was an entire line there, and the guys are buying like 10 bundles, 15 bundles a piece, unsmoked. I mean, that's a testament, and you don't want to let these people down. That's the problem that I have. I really, I'm being honest with the community out there. I truly live and die by every cigar and what we put out, and the smallest error that might be out there, it really affects me, because people are spending their hard-earned money out there, and we were these guys that went out and did that, and I still do that. If there's a cigar out there limited that I like, I'll still go out and purchase it and everything else. But it's just mind blowing. I don't think that I've truly come to terms with stuff like that yet. Like maybe later on, I'll think about it. But I think the feat of selling 500 10-count bundles in one day and technically a couple hours is just an amazing thing. Not to toot our horn, I've seen bigger guys in the industry that have 500 bundles out there, and they just don't sell. So I said, how the hell are we going to sell these things? And, I think the power of the Dojo, which I credit everything to, and a small little boutique company like ourselves, where, it's going very well. I mean, it's truly, it's an honor for everybody in the company that we accomplished that.
You talk. I'm not going to say that you're the negative person in the company. You put that disclaimer on yourself. I'll say conservative, Bill. Mm-hmm. So, as the conservative member of the company, how did you feel? You must have, if you were sweating bullets over 500 bundles,
right?
How did you feel about the John Doe Project, considering nothing was disclosed? Now, it's one thing to buy a cigar sight unseen, unsmoked, but know the components of it. Trust in Lazona.
Right.
And trust in the blend. Like, oh, I like Ecuadorian, Rosado. I like Habano, Nicaragua. Right. I could, these guys haven't let me down yet. I'm going to try it, but completely undisclosed. How did you feel? How did you feel about that project?
It was the same thing. I thought that that would take, that I thought that eventually that those cigars would go to retailers also. We released them limited through Berkeley Humidor. And, that showed us, I think that, because we did that right before the Nightstick project. I think that showed us that there was a little bit of clout there, that people had respect of the past projects that we did. We did a project Guadalupe. It was a short run. It was probably maybe 200 bundles or 150. I'm not sure how much it was, and maybe something else. But that, hey, we have a decent following. It's time to pay attention to these two fat guys. We're brand owners, but maybe the three fat guys, because Hector does a phenomenal job for us. So and Eric too, and Eric Jr. So the team is strong right now. The state of Lozona is strong right now. I think we are just touching on. I just had Eric send a couple boxes of the Larange Oscuro, and I was smoking the the Corona size. I mean, I think this cigar is going to make some waves. Hector's touching on all bases, all cylinders here. He's doing good, and I think that people should be prepared, going into the trade show for what Lazona's doing. I mean, we are coming in strong. We have a lot of things going on.
So I'm a big aging nerd, as you may. I think
Yeah,
we've talked
me
about this
too.
before.
Me too.
And
I age too much, so I have like my personal stash. I'm like, it's time to smoke some of this stuff,
And this official misconduct is actually from last year's IPCPR, so it's almost a year old. And I've got a few more that I'm putting away. And
I think those are smoking phenomenal with age. That's the trick on those.
I think. Well, I mean, I think they were great to be, right off the shelf. God, I can speak English. Right off the shelf. But almost a year of age on this is smoking incredible. I mean, it is considerably different and very, very enjoyable. So if any of our audience out there are aging nerds like Bill and I, grab some official misconduct and put them away for a little bit, because they are going to treat you well. And I'm excited to see what some more age will do on this cigar. I mean, it doesn't. The great thing about, and I've done this with a number of Hector's and Eric's cigars, the power of the Nicaraguan tobacco that they love so much, that you guys love so much, it doesn't lose. I mean, it might lose some intensity. It might lose a little bit of that bite, but that spice becomes more refined over time, and you get to really enjoy, and you get to notice a lot more nuance in the cigar, and it becomes a really refined smoke, something almost elegant about it. And this cigar is no different, and it's truly tremendous. I'm really enjoying this right now.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. The thing is, we're not afraid to sit on some blends too. I mean, we had a Protocol Blue Churchill box press, and I got that thing, and I didn't like it at all. And I had a couple bundles, and I revisited that, after some time, and it is a unbelievable, phenomenal cigar. So it's things like that. Hey, maybe we have to do these things with some of these cigars. We're not. We're not cigar experts. We're brand owners, so we're learning ourselves. So I have the official misconduct Lanceros, and I keep revisiting them. Hey, maybe they get better in time, and so we make them and we let them sit for X amount of time, so it's a learning curve, and we're going with the flow. But those I found, and Juan said the same thing to me too, that those cigars right now, the cigars that came out with the original batch, are smoking really nice.
So you talk about, figuring your way along with you've said it a couple of times tonight. It's been mentioned previously. You guys are brand owners. You guys aren't blenders. That's done by Hector Alfonso of Lozona, and he's done an incredible job for you guys. We've talked about that before.
Right.
So, and you kind of mentioned it earlier, like you smoked the official misconduct in a Lancero and you guys didn't like it. As you guys are working on these other projects and kind of finding your way, so to speak, in what you guys enjoy and what you don't, are you guys, obviously you trust Hector and his work and what he's doing for it, but as far as putting a cigar to market, taking a cigar to market, that final decision ultimately rests with you. We rest with you guys as far as pushing forward that final step and everything. So kind of to take it back to the official misconduct Lancero that, we won't see because it didn't work for you guys.
Right.
What are some things that you're looking for? I mean, is it just simply that you want to enjoy it? And if you enjoy it, your community will, or is there something else?
I think that between the palette of Juan, Kevin, I, and Bill, that we've both, we all all members have distinct palates that if it gets past that barrage of tests, that the people will enjoy it. And we want to, like I said, we want to smoke a cigar. If we enjoy it, we always take the premise that we're gonna have these things for the rest of our lives. Would you make this cigar? All right, is this cigar something that you're going to put out thousands of cigars, and if nobody bought one, would you smoke it for the rest of your life? And every cigar that we've done, well, the answer was yes. We have no problem, and if this company dies in 10 seconds, we'll be happy to sit on this inventory that we have and smoke for the rest of our lives. So that's pretty much been how we do it. We don't try to do, what we think the masses will like, what sizes. We spoke about that, where we could probably do better selling a 6x60 ring gauge, but we just don't feel that we like that so much, so we just don't do it. We've gotten, I think the highest is 56 that we've done, but we just try to smoke cigars that we like. We try to make it simple. We are, that's the company motto: power of the people, power of the P. We were Cigar Dojo guys. We were cigar fans, cigar geeks. Same thing as everybody else. We got the opportunity to come out with a cigar. Nobody was going to buy it. We were successful at it. Now, when we go at it, we make the sizes that we like, and we think that those cigar geeks out there will like Lanceros. Now, are we trying to overtake the whole United States market? Absolutely not. Nobody's, there's a small percentage of stores that are going to buy the Lanceros, but we're trying to hit those stores that have those geeky guys that like us, that smoke those cigars, those Corona Gordas, and that'll go up. Everybody will smoke a Toro, and the blends that we try to do a little bit different stuff. Some blends are a Robusto and a Toro. Some blends are Corona Gorda and a Toro. Some are Corona Gorda and a Churchill. So then we go box press, round. We like them all. So we just try to stick what we like. I mean, we're too small to come out with. We're too small to come out with 5 different sizes for one cigar. That's for the big guys. We just can't handle it. I mean, when you put it out there, for the people that are watching, the small guys that are thinking that you want to get into the business, it's too much to handle. I mean, I'm going to be completely honest, too much to handle. The less, the better. I had me and Juan were having a conversation when we were coming out with the official misconduct. That size, that 6x50, smoked the best. I said, you know what? Let's stick to this. Later on, we can come out with something else. But we have a couple different SKUs going on already with other stuff that we're doing, and it's just when you're a small company, you have to understand. We have 2. Juan just retired, but we had 2 jobs at the time, and we're shipping everything ourselves, and you're managing it. You're trying to project when stuff's going to run out and different SKUs. It gets to be mind-blowing when you really jump into the whole foray of everything. As a cigar shop employee like yourself, you order a cigar, the brand X ran out. You order it, you expect it to be there to replace it to satisfy your customers. I mean, that is what it takes. And if that brand can't fulfill that, then you lose space, and then the person goes on to the next cigar. And we learned that in the beginning. It's just timing, and it's just managing of tobacco and managing of funds too. I mean, we're a small company. We've come a long way in the 4 years, but it's just a lot to manage.
And that's something that is really that I would like to commend you guys on. And then for that line you said about how if your company died in 10 seconds, you guys would have a boatload of cigars that you all loved. Right. So you would have cigars to smoke for life, essentially. And I know that that's a sincere comment, because you're not the only person to have said it. You've said it to me a couple of times. Kevin's mentioned it to me. Juan's mentioned it. Juan has actually said it on this show as well too. And so, you know, these principles that you hold dear, the mantras that you started this company with, like you said, you're young and you're small. And obviously the goal eventually is to grow. Maybe not nationwide, maybe not worldwide,
Right.
but to obviously to be successful in this business. Do you think being again, you said negative, I'm going to say conservative, being the conservative member of the partnership, do you think that that's going to be challenging to hold on to those mantras, or do you think that's the one steadfast thing that you guys can all agree on as you move forward and grow?
You know, I've been more giving as we've grown. So, you know, my personal opinions with things. So, as we've grown, we've had some wiggle room to do more things, more projects. I'm always the guy that's trying to, you know, keep stuff tight, and but you know, it's just part of the business. You know, I would love to come out with a bunch of sizes, you know, that I personally enjoy, but it's not possible when you're a small company. You have to realize where you are. I mean, I don't know. There could be a lot of small companies out there that have done it and just haven't been successful. Maybe that knocked them out because they've had X amount of SKUs that they just can't sell. We sell what we know smokes well, so that's what we try to capitalize on. You know, we have a niche clientele out there that are super uber cigar geeks out there that love flavorful stuff, and that's what we try to produce. Um, you know, we've been growing like crazy. You know, in the last 4 years, we're just going to have our anniversary party on June 1st,
Which is always a
and
huge event.
yeah, it's going to be a great time. So we're going to do that party on June 1st in Clinton, New Jersey. We have a hotel rented out where they have a nice outdoor space, and we're going to have a surprise for everybody. We're not going to make any announcements here, but we're going to have a surprise cigar for everybody that attends that day.
Well, speaking of surprise cigars, so you guys have the 4 core lines that you guys have been building.
Mm-hmm.
With the most recent core line, the cigar we talked about earlier, the official misconduct.
Mm-hmm.
How close are we to seeing that elusive 5th core line, or is 5th core line in the cards?
Yeah, it's coming. So there's a big announcement that's going to be coming from Cubariqueño Cigar Company for the trade show this year. I am, and with my partners, are super excited about the cigar. I mean, it's something a little different that we haven't done before, and it's kind of taking a little track off of the protocol line, but I think it's going to be wildly successful for us. Lozona, Hector has done a phenomenal job. Eric Jr. So I think it's going to work out well. And on top of that, you know, we have a different little surprise for everybody at our anniversary party. A couple tricks up our sleeve this year. You know, we've been working at this. This has been in our cards since we started the company, and it's nice to see that you can achieve those goals that you laid out, that you can actually make it to those goals. You know, starting out year one and you lay all these foundations out, it's tough, you know, after a while to think that, you know, that we would be in business after 4 years. But fortunately, we are. And we've been very successful. And I'm proud of that. I mean, it's been a lot of hard work. We do all the shipping ourselves. You know, all the guys spend time in the office, and we developed a team of independent reps that we've come close friends with. Some guys that we've developed ourselves we try to keep the motto in, like police guys, firefighters, EMTs, and not to go crazy, but you know, hold a certain core number of those guys and these guys are really knocking it out of the park for us. And I think Coop said at one time, you know, you really don't want to get into business with people that you're friends with or know, you know, it's bad business. But in the police world, you know, those guys are like your family. And it doesn't matter if you're a Rhode Island cop or a New Jersey cop. It kind of just works for us. These
Hmm.
guys just are trying to do everything that they can do to make our brand better. Just because we're police officers and we become good friends with these guys. So I'm super proud about that. I mean, I'm super proud about the team. I have to give a lot of credit to Kevin, our national sales manager. When he's came on board, he's really taken the company to another level. Juan has just embarked on a couple of different road trips on the East Coast. He retired, and he's really done a phenomenal job for the company. And I'm doing my thing where I'm not at all of these events, but I'm there in the office and I'm doing my part with shipping and logistics, and everybody's kind of got their thing that they're doing, and it works out. And at one point I talked to Danny Vasquez, and he said to me right at the end when he was closing up his company, he says, "You know what? This is really tough because I can't bounce any ideas off of anybody. I'm just by myself." And the great thing that we have here is sometimes partnerships don't work out because there's so many different opinions, but sometimes they do work out because you have so much help, and guys can take a different role and everybody can get along so well. So it's worked out for us. And we have a great relationship with Eric and Hector, and it's just kind of been a family atmosphere the whole time. So
It is a risky move,
yeah.
bringing in people that are so close to you,
Uh-huh.
family, as you said. Family is sometimes they're the best people to work with, and sometimes they're the absolute worst.
Right.
We've seen examples in the cigar industry where even families, uh, it just doesn't work even in that regard. So to bring in your friends and everything. In fact, we've mentioned Kevin a couple of times tonight, and Kevin Keaton was introduced as the national sales manager on this show. I think the official announcement came a couple days beforehand, but
Right.
kind of made his debut on the show with Juan when I had Juan Cancel on last year. And you're absolutely right. He has done an incredible job, and it's really great that it's working out for you guys in the capacity. And I think that continues to go along with the line of the community that you guys have built, the network that you guys have built, and the mantras that you continue, the foundations that you continue to build on. One other point that I wanted to make, and I was interested to hear your opinion on it, Bill, in this particular thing, is you guys have been very loyal to a couple of the shop exclusives we talked about tonight. We've talked about your relationship with famous uh, with of course Berkeley's Humidor as well, and I know there's a ton of other shops. We can't list them all that you have really
Right.
built some phenomenal relationships. And the truth is, in this business, you build relationships with all of your retailers, but
Right.
there's always those, the first one, and then those ones that really support you, that you kind of keep close. You keep in close into the network and everything. Again, to my question earlier about moving forward and progressing and growing, how do you guys feel like you will deal with the challenge of, as you grow and expand, still cultivating um, and keeping those relationships with like places like Berkeley so tight
You
moving
know,
forward?
right. Well, we try to do some different projects for these different retailers. We've obviously, like you stated, we've worked with Famous Smoke Shop, Berkeley Humidor, Cigar Internationals is a big account for us. They've been a big supporter, and recently we've taken in Smokin' Abe down in Florida.
Oh wow,
Um,
terrific, man!
yeah, and
That's a
yeah,
great place in
absolutely,
that state to be in for sure.
yeah, and we are in business now with JR Cigars. So I know they have JR Serious Cigars. So there's a lot of different areas. They've all been great to us. I mean, like I said, everybody wants to do a different exclusive, this and that, but we try to take it slowly and methodically. Let's not go crazy and do so many different blends. But I think the way we space it out, and everybody has their turn and place, and when you think that you're paying attention to this guy B, that you think that maybe we just we haven't paid enough attention to him in the last couple of days, is ordering, like crazy. So it's great because those cigars are selling in all the locations. So, you know, um, you knock on wood, you can't always say that, but for us right now, everything's hitting on all cylinders. And we have a little cult boutique following, which we appreciate. I almost equate it to like a little Drew Estate following when they started up. And obviously that's a huge network that those guys have developed. But our followers, are fanatics, and we pay attention to each and every one of those guys, and each and every one of those guys that smokes the cigars. We know them. We make sure that we go online and we make sure that when they post our cigars, hey, I still, take it to heart. You're willing to spend, $9-10 a cigar. I'm gonna that we made, that I'm gonna take my time out and at least thank you for it. And all the people on our team do that, and I think that goes a long way. It went a long way for me when I was not in the business, and I would post somebody's cigar, and a lot of times you don't see the brand owner or the owner of the company, factory owner, whoever it is, take the time out to appreciate that. And I understand too, now that we're getting bigger, that you don't have as much time, if you're a really, really, really small guy. And being really, really small guys, time is precious right now. But that's what built the company. And I think that, you have to really say thank you to each and every person for each and every cigar they smoke. I mean, it's just that those people are the people that made us. That's why, the mantra is power of the people. We're the people cigar. We are one of you guys, just guys that were cigar smokers, loved it, came out with the brand, and thank God that it took off.
No, and things do change, and things do change rapidly. You mentioned at the very beginning of the show about how just my show has changed in the amount of time since you've been on last, but even to turn the page on it, it's done the same for you too, Bill. I mean, because when I asked you to come on the first time, you're like, absolutely, give me the date. I gave you the date. We made it happen. This time we had to finagle the schedule a little bit and work around it because you're so busy with a lot of different things. And I'm totally appreciative, of course, obviously, and was thrilled to get you on and be able to make this schedule work for you. But as you grow and everything, you're not able to do as much as you were in the past and everything. And so that's why I was kind of interested to see how these foundational principles that you guys have set up and done so well, and how they will continue to move going forward. We've painted a lot of similarities tonight that I think are pretty apt. You've mentioned Tatuaje. You mentioned Drew Estate just a moment ago. And there are a lot of core principles that made those companies successful and have built them up to what they are today, that you guys are kind of falling in line with. We talked about the mystery bundle, the John Doe Project. We talked about some of these other smaller projects that you've been able to do. And that's something that Tatuaje has done to great success, most recently with their Potluck series and their Mystery Meat Tour from a couple of years ago.
Right.
And you guys are doing maybe not as much volume,
right?
Not as large of a company as you mentioned, but to the, at least speaking in terms of the ratio, to the same amount of success. And this is my last serious question that I'll get to. As time goes on, Juan is recently retired, as you mentioned, and well deserved for a fabulous career that he did serving his community. And sincerely and from the bottom of my heart, he didn't serve my community, but I appreciate the work that he did and the work that you do on a daily basis, other than in cigars. As he's going to transform into, obviously this into a little bit more, to obviously more full time and everything. How do you see that changed in the dynamic of how your partnership and company moves going forward?
It's only been a positive. I mean, for the first 4 years, he was working a lot, so a lot of the responsibility was falling on me. And then when Kevin came on board, that took a big burden off myself. And then now that Juan's retired, I mean, it's been phenomenal, and we can see the success for the company with that things that you can't do when you just have a 9-to-5 job. So he's able to travel now. He's out there meeting different people, and everybody that smokes a cigar, they want to put a face to the brand and meet the brand owner. And he's been doing a great job. I mean, I really applaud him for that. And the other thing too is, you take a lot of time away from your family too. He just retired, and he's been on the road for 4 or 5 weeks, away from the family. So, but he's sacrificing for the company, and everybody's sacrificed. I sacrificed the first couple of years. Kevin's has done things that sacrifice. Mr. Themis over here did a couple of things that sacrifice. So we all pitch in one way or another, and it just works for us. So I'm proud of Juan. I'm proud of Kevin. I think that we have a good thing going right now. It's just been phenomenal that we've been able to make it 4 years. We're going to hit that landmark this month in this business, and it's just truly amazing. And I knock on wood, and I just pinch myself every time we do some of these releases that these bundles sell out and people actually enjoy them. It's been a hell of a ride, One day, I always said I never watch any of these things when I'm done with them, or the shows that they mention this on. One day, in the end, when it's over, I'll watch them all, and I'll truly enjoy every moment of it, because it's been a fun ride. It's been, for a normal cigar guy that turned into a brand owner, it's been one hell of a ride, I'll tell you that.
One last point, so as you've mentioned, this ride has been far exceeded the expectations already of what you guys envisioned, and it's like you said, it's been a hell of a ride. Now with Juan being so close to retirement, was that part of the preliminary plan as you set up Cubariqueño? Like, hey, in a few years I'm going to be retiring, and I'll be able to do this more full time.
Yeah, we know. Okay. We knew he was going to retire before myself. I still have 3 years left, and that he would be able to go out there and hit the road. I mean, obviously, prior to that, we were doing events together, but now that he's able to get out there more, he's taken full advantage of it, and it's gone along with the plan, and has really contributed, actually more than we've ever expected him to. So he's doing a phenomenal job, and I have to really give kudos to some of those reps out there that we have, that they're really, pushing the brand out there. I mean, that's what makes it. In the first year or two, you sit back and you're waiting for people to come to you, but what it takes is boots to the ground, getting out there, meeting the people, putting the cigar in somebody's hand, following up with them. It's really worked out for us.
So, Bill, we're going to go into my last question, which is always the fun question. We're going into our curveball segment, and I told you a question before the show, but I can kind of applaud myself on reading some people, and figured out that it may not be the best question to ask necessarily. So I'm actually going to deviate. I'm going to throw a little bit of a curveball on the curveball here, but I think this question will be a little bit more fun. Couple of quick questions. When did you start smoking cigars? How old were you?
I started smoking cigars when I was 16 years old. I can remember we swiped a pack of Garcia Vegas from the local Walgreens.
The ones in the tubes?
Yeah.
Oh.
And with the pre-hole in there. Yeah. And then, high school, we were like, all of a sudden we got into like coffee, and we're like just chain smoking Philly blunts, because were able to buy them and nobody questioned us. And I really got serious into cigars probably in my early 20s. Yeah, that's when I really started experimenting with like every different brand and becoming a cigar geek and reading as much as I can read about cigars and watching videos and going to events. And
when did you decide you wanted to be a police officer?
when I was super young, I was like probably like 10 years old. I saw a police officer came up. You know, we like probably kicked the ball into the street. We were in a city. I grew up in Elizabeth, New Jersey, and cop car stopped, black and white, and the guy got out, got the ball, brought it to us, and super nice guy. And from there on out, I was hooked. You know, I started with when I was 15 years old in like a junior police explorer program, and I've never since then turned back and looked away. I've always worn a uniform since I was 15 years old. That's why, you know, I have a little vacation here. I have a little bit of a beard, but the day that I retire, I'd like to grow it out like you know, because my whole entire life here, I've been conforming to the rules of uniform wearing.
You look good in a beard. You grew a beard out last year, right? It was part of like a fundraiser for the department or something like that.
They have like 2 or 3 months where you can grow the beard out, so that's fun. So yeah, I think I look 10 times better in the beard, but
everybody looks good with a beard.
Yeah,
as long as you can grow it like you can, it looks great on everyone. So so here's the question, Bill. So you knew pretty young what you were going to be and everything. So if take you at that age, if the police department hadn't worked out, they had kicked you out, but they said you could do anything else with your life at that time when you were 15, 16 years old, but you can build police work's not going to work out for you, but tell you what, you can do anything else with your life. At that time, what would it have been? What was Bill Ives going to do if the police department didn't work out for him?
I probably would have I probably wouldn't have taken that answer because I am such a motivated person that I knew that some way or how I would get to where I wanted to be. I've always been, knock on wood, successful with things that I've done in my career and just being when I was younger too. I've always been into politics. I mean, younger, I was always the student council president of something or whatever. But I probably would have gotten into some sort of IT stuff because I was really into it years ago, and now you know the police jobs kind of like forced me back into it a little bit now that I've just come off the road. But probably that, you know, if I had to go back, I would have been a firefighter. At least I could sleep at night.
I do like what you said about politics. You know, Congressman Bill Ives does have a nice ring to it.
Yeah.
Or would you have gone really pretentious and would you have been Congressman William Ives? Would it have been William Ives at that point?
Somebody would have talked me into that William Ives, you know. But you know, I love politics. I follow it like crazy. I'm a junkie. You know, and I try to take in all sides to kind of like think about, you know, what the other side's thinking. So somebody's like, you know, I'm a Fox News guy. So somebody's like, well, why are you always watching CNN? And I said, you have to know what the enemy is thinking at all times. So I'm just, it's just great to learn different views and, but I'm definitely a big politics junkie. I want this country to succeed, and you know, it's an amazing country, and I just hope for the best for it.
You know, there's a lot of lessons in what you just said there, Bill. That you know, considering things from all angles, from all sides. You know, in order to either strengthen your own position or just to, frankly, just learn about somebody else and the way that they think and everything, and then. You know, of course.
I try to tell the young cops that that fell under my command. You know, oh well, you know, I wrote this person X amount of tickets. You know, and I said, well, you know, that's nice and all, but go to court and stand there and actually listen to when that person has to pay the tickets and, you know, what these tickets cost. You know, a lot of the police officers don't know what these tickets cost. So you might give somebody 4 tickets. I mean, you might ruin their life for a good year or so. You know, and does the person deserve that? Yeah, maybe some people deserve that. Maybe some people don't. You know, I always try to tell people you got to have compassion. Um, that's just the way I was brought up. You know, my mother, my father. It's just you know, the world is crazy. You know, I always think you got to try to help the person that's struggling out there. So if the person deserves something, yes, absolutely, you have to pay for what you did wrong. But if you can give a person a break, I think that's the biggest, you know, the biggest compliment you give anybody.
It's that statement right there, Bill, that absolutely answers the question into why you are so terrific at your job, both jobs for that matter. And
No, I appreciate it, bro.
And we appreciate you, and we appreciate you hanging out with us so late. I know it's you're on the Eastern time, so it's coming up on the midnight hour there in sunny Florida. Not sunny Florida because it's nighttime, but
now I want to tell you something. I'm here, right? I made a commitment to you that I was going to be on the show.
Yes, sir.
All of a sudden, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at this place that I go to, and they have a couple like these superstar DJs playing tonight. And I go, oh, I'd love to go. Somebody goes, go. I'm not going. Made a commitment. I'm here, and you know, I appreciate the work that you do. You know, I know it's not easy, and you're starting out, and it's amazing to see, like you said when you started the show, that you have a decent amount of sponsorships, and it's I'm happy for you. So congratulations on that front.
It's all because of terrific people like you, Bill. My guests are what drive the show. I've been fortunate enough to talk to fabulous people like you each and every week. It's truly my privilege. It is absolute pleasure. I like you. I have fun. It's
awesome, bro.
Blast. And couldn't happen without great people like you. So really, again, really appreciate your time. And for our audience, thanks for hanging out with us as we battled a little technical difficulties at the beginning of the show. But if you're listening to the show via podcast, remember, you are listening to us, as Bill mentioned, because of one of our terrific sponsors, Cornelius and Anthony Premium Cigars, who Bill knows quite well.
Yeah, they're great people.
Lozona, part of the Lozona family, and we really appreciate it, as always. And of course, this show is also sponsored by our studio sponsor, Caldwell Cigar Company. It was created in 2014 with a very simple agenda to create special cigars using well-aged and rare tobaccos and to enjoy the hell out of what they do, just like Bill and I.
Yes.
They're a business built on friendship and fun. Their goals will always be creation, innovation, and ambition. Caldwell Cigar Company. And for everyone out there, again, we really appreciate you on the East Coast as you're drifting into Monday morning. For the rest of the country who is still very late in the evening, we appreciate everyone out there. We're going to be taking a break from our show next week, but we'll be coming to you. It may not be a live broadcast, but we will have an exclusive live recording. I know that's a contradictory statement, but we will be doing a show. Our 77th take will be from the Drew Estate Barn Smoker. We mentioned Drew Estate earlier. The Drew Estate Barn Smoker in Claremont, Florida. We are so excited about that. We'll be interviewing some great folks down there.
Awesome.
So tune in for that, and tune in for all of our fantastic takes, and go back and listen to take number 10 as I visited with Bill Ives the very first time, and you will see how we both have grown in very, very good ways. For all of us here at ELOSOFUMARTAKES, I'm Barry Duplessis. He's Bill Ives. Guess what? We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.